see if this works. Yeah, something's working. So, do we get that? Yes. Okay, hi everybody. Let's see. Yeah, I'll probably need my specs to see. So that's a hard act to follow.
Sorry.
But you know, when you're in a club and the party vibe's been going and it gets a bit too much, there's always that room off to the side where you can go chill out. And there's often some ambient music. Not to say I'm going to play an ambient set, but we're going to finish tonight maybe with something that's a little bit more meditative. So when I saw the conference theme, Embodied Sound in the Virtual, I thought, well, I play with my body, I'll throw my hat in the ring. And the question of the virtual is, well, I don't do VR, you know that. But I've had this whole idea about a virtual musical instrument for a long time, and the body becoming a virtual musical instrument. And the story goes back about 30 years, actually, when I was doing my PhD at the Center for Computer Research in Music and Acoustics at Stanford. This was early Silicon Valley days, 1990, before all the internet boom and all that. But there was a first wave of interest in virtual reality at the time. And really interesting pioneers like Jaron Lanier had companies, and they were producing the first generation of VR systems. And I got quite interested in the idea about music for VR, but I didn't have access to those kinds of technologies. Jaron, I heard speak at a conference called the CyberConf in Los Angeles in 1990. And other people who spoke at that were engineers and biomedical scientists, Hugh Lusted and Ben Knapp. Ben, who is now at UVA, and who hosted the NINE conference a couple of years ago. They had developed a system for taking body signals and creating a stream of MIDI data. I picked up on that instrument, and for some of you who know me for a long time, I played with the BioMuse since then, and I'm still playing with my muscle. But the idea back then, because of the sort of initial interest in virtual reality, was to say, okay, much as like Steve said, we can make sounds with our gestures, we can make music in thin air. The idea then came, okay, if I've got sensors that are able to capture and follow body activity, then that could be a kind of virtual musical instrument. And in this case, since the signals are coming from the physiology of the body, then that the body itself could be the musical instrument. So I continued with that, and so for those who've known me for a long time, they're going to say, oh my God, he's still doing that same act. But when you pick up a violin, you don't really get a system update, or you don't say, well, that's been a couple of years of nice violin, there's a new product out there, I'll pick up violin, who knows, X. Musical instruments don't work like that, do they? When you pick one up, it takes a lot of time to learn, an investment, emotional and technical investment to learn it and master it. And that's the kind of relationship I wanted to have with technology. So part of it was to give myself the time to learn it, to stick with it like a musical instrument, unlike the tech that is so disposable these days. So with that, the body stays the same, the instrument is the same, but it's not the same act for those who've seen it before. Although the concept and the instrument are in fact the same, in fact, the technology does evolve, and some of the concepts evolve as well. So tomorrow my colleague Francesco Di Maggio will be presenting our paper, he'll be demoing the system. We've got a small board that's in my pocket, that's called the EMG board that we developed thanks to a European project I was running, that is today replacing the huge rack that I had to use back in 1990. It is Bluetooth and it's wireless. But more than anything else, it is a musical device. So unlike things like the Microsoft Kinect and even the Leap Motion, they were never designed to be musical instruments. So we've got to hack them, we've got to find the API or get the plugin or Max object that allows us to patch it into the rest of our music system. Muscle interfaces used to be like that. And some of you may remember, for a few years there was a product called the Mayo that was out there, an armband that you would slip on your band, it would pick up muscle tension. It was really pretty good, but it was a general purpose human interface device, and it had to be hacked to be used for music. And so when Facebook or Meta bought up that company and disappeared that technology into their VR group, all of us artists who were using the Mayo were orphaned. But I was reminded first that Ben and Hugh had created a MIDI device with the BioMuse. It was a musical device. Okay? And so when we had the chance to make the EV board, we decided to make a musical device. So it is taking physiological signals from the body, digitizing them, but it's going immediately on chip, on board, into the OWL audio signal processing framework that was developed by Martin Klang, who has a modular synthesizer company called Rebel Tech and designs synthesizers for the Barcelona company Befaco. So the signals from the body are digitized and immediately are treated in an audio signal processing pipeline and come out of the board via Bluetooth or USB, where the device is a class-compliant audio and MIDI device. So it is a musical instrument of sorts that's able to then connect to a network of other musical devices. And so in that, I'm slowly getting to the idea of the modular synthesizer. So the system that you see here, systems where we're able to patch and repatch different modules, be they analog, be they digital, and reconfigure them and twiddle the knobs and design our different sounds as we play. And in this case, the body then becomes a module in the modular synthesizer system. In addition to the muscle, I've got a little heart rate sensor here. You see, I've got my voice. It's not just to talk to you, but I will be picking up breathing sounds here. There will be some pulsing sounds that will eventually come out that are recordings of brain activity. So there is a version of this piece where I perform live also with an EEG headset. So there are various versions of this piece. They all use the same modular patch. When I premiered this piece in Paris back in May, it was entitled Om Ujjayi. I was kneeling on the ground and I was practicing yoga, yoga breathing exercises and yoga, different postures and poses coming from yoga. I won't do that today, but some of the sounds are coming from that, and that maybe brings us back to this chill-out room, a meditative situation. If I'm breathing and getting my heart rate, which you would hear, tuned into the situation, one being nervous on stage, trying to slow it down, that then is the practice of yoga and of meditation. So the chill-out vibe is not a vibe, or it is a vibe, but an internal one. And you're about to hear it on the spatial sound system. We're going out 8 channels from the modular synthesizer, thanks to the sound system that's been put in place here. So in some ways, we're going to be entering my body in different ways. So I'd like to thank Valentino Di Donato, the conference chair, the music chairs Zach Moy and Craig Veer, and Ethan, who's helped with the sound tonight. Here we go. Just one sec.
questions or comments on that final performance of the evening?